one of the hard things to do if you are kind of a newbie into this venture is to pick the right materials for those hardscape projects. You can start with the internet, of course. There are great pictures, there are excellent websites from companies and suppliers, but as we probably all know from buying clothing or something for the grill or toys or anything else over the internet, you don't necessarily get what that picture looks like. And that is particularly true if you're talking about rocks and blocks. So this one tiny little rock in my hand weighs maybe 3/4 of a pound or a pound, and it's a certain color, and of course, depending on how good the photography is, you can go ahead and take a look at what is online in the pictures, but you certainly can't pick it up in your hand. And it's really hard for people to then make that math leap into tons. Oftentimes, hardscape materials are sold by the ton. And then to know how many tons of this particular rock you would need to cover a certain amount of area is also tricky. So the other thing to look at or to think about as you're choosing those materials is how much area do you have to cover? How strong are you? Can you lift all of these boulders, especially if they're big ones, yourself? Are you going to have to bring in materials? Where are those materials going to be stacked? Do you need to get them delivered? Will they fit in the back of your pickup or preferably your friend's pickup? What are you going to do about it if you have an overage or an underage? And that also can be an issue. Many of the supply companies will not take back materials that are kind of an overrun for obvious reasons. What are they going to do with a partial pallet or 3 or 4 hands full of rocks? And of course, if you run out and you just happen to have chosen a material that is very difficult to come by, you're not going to be able to match it. So a great piece of advice is go online, take a look, start doing that exploration to begin with. Go ahead and use those calculators that so many companies have to figure out the conversions from square feet or square yards to cubic feet to cubic yards to tons. Understand that oftentimes those have a little bit of an overrun in them, which is obviously a better idea, like I said, than running out. And then if at all possible, take a little bit of a jaunt and a journey in your vehicle, drive by, take a look at whether the color and the size matches what you really had in mind. And that's true from everything for boulders to pavers to wall materials, even fountains, pond supplies, and lighting.